America needs a full-time president, particularly at this time with problems we face at home and abroad, in a period when our entire focus should be on the great issues of peace abroad and prosperity without inflation at home. Therefore, I shall resign the presidency effective at noon tomorrow.
Welcome to our deep dive into one of the most polarizing figures in American history, Richard Nixon, the 37th President of the United States. This complex, multifaceted man would go on to orchestrate some of the greatest diplomatic triumphs of the 20th century, only to see his legacy shattered by a third-rate burglary. Make sure to watch until the very end as we reveal the smoking gun evidence that finally answered the question, was Nixon truly the mastermind behind the Watergate scandal, or just a man caught in a web of his own making? Richard Milhous Nixon was born in 1913 in a small lemon farmhouse in Yorba Linda, California. His upbringing was defined by the strict Quaker values of his mother, Hannah, and the struggling grocery business of his father, Frank. Life wasn't easy. Nixon lost two brothers to tuberculosis during his youth, a hardship that forged a relentless and almost obsessive work ethic. He wasn't the natural athlete or the social butterfly. He was the grinder who worked at the family store by dawn and studied by lamplight, eventually earning a scholarship to Duke University Law School, where he graduated third in his class. After serving as a Navy commander in the Pacific during World War II, Nixon catapulted into politics. He gained national fame as a relentless anti-communist during the Alger Hiss spy case, a reputation that earned him the vice presidency under Dwight D. Eisenhower at just 39 years old. However, his career almost ended before it truly began. Accused of using a secret campaign fund for personal use, Nixon took to the airwaves in the famous Checkers speech. By talking about his family's black and white Cocker Spaniel, Checkers, he used the new medium of television to save his political life, proving he was a master of public manipulation. After a crushing defeat to JFK in 1960 and a failed gubernatorial bid in 1962, the world wrote Richard Nixon off. Yet in 1968, he pulled off the greatest political comeback in history. As the 37th president, Nixon was a titan of foreign policy. He did what was then considered impossible. He opened the doors to communist China and established détente with the Soviet Union. Back home, he ended the draft and created the EPA. To the world, he was a visionary statesman. But inside the Oval Office, a darker, more paranoid atmosphere was brewing. The downfall began on June 17, 1972, when 5 men were arrested for breaking into the Democratic National Committee headquarters at the Watergate complex. While Nixon initially dismissed it as a minor incident, the threads began to unravel. 2 young reporters, Woodward and Bernstein, followed the money back to the committee to re-elect the president. The real shock came in 1973, when it was revealed that Nixon had a voice-activated taping system in the Oval Office. For months, Nixon fought to keep the tapes private, claiming executive privilege. But when the Supreme Court forced their release, the smoking gun tape proved that while Nixon may not have planned the initial break-in, he had actively ordered the FBI to stop the investigation just 6 days after the crime. Therefore, he was the architect of the cover-up. On August 9, 1974, Richard Nixon became the first and only U.S. president to resign. He left the White House in a helicopter, flashing a defiant V for victory sign that became an iconic image of a shattered era. He spent his remaining years writing books and reinventing himself as an elder statesman. But the shadow of Watergate never truly faded. Today, he is remembered as a man of brilliant intellect and profound insecurity, a president who achieved greatness only to be undone by the very tools he used to protect his power. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this journey through the halls of power and manipulation, please subscribe to the channel and hit that like button. What do you think? If the smoking gun tape hadn't existed, do you think Nixon would have finished his term? Let us know your thoughts, and please give us ideas of new historical figures to cover next in the comments below.